What's up guys? We ran out of insulation, so we're trying to move on to something else we can work on with the material we actually have. So we're going to start doing the shower framing. We already put this board up, and we're actually going to be creating a little shelf in this area. So we'll frame all of that up, and then we'll start working on the rest of the shower. All right, we have our box put in. We actually put this in for a little bit more elbow room for when we're taking a shower. Some of this action, maybe even a little shelf for shampoo and soap and whatnot. But we thought that would be a nice little feature to the shower, just to have a bit more room. That way we weren't as confined as this space right here. Really hope I don't screw this cut up, otherwise be wasting like a $50 sheet of hardwood plywood. Alright, everything's cut out, the pocket holes are in, now we're ready to glue it and screw it. We're making templates for the sidewalls of the shower. Be sure to have a lot of extra cardboard laying around because you will definitely use it for templates. Jelaine's siliconing all of the little cracks and screw holes. We ended up ordering a shower pan, which originally we were just going to kind of float one up with some thin set or something, but we determined that this would be a better, more waterproof solution, and we didn't want to have to worry about our floor rusting out in the future. But the whole shower is framed up and we have this gap. So pro tip, if you're going to use a shower pan, buy it before you frame your shower, because you feel like a real idiot when you do it the opposite way. We went ahead and marked out for our drain, and then we pre-drilled the center of that, went to the underside of the van and measured it out just to make sure we had adequate clearance on the frame members. So we're good to go on that, which is a good thing because now we get to pack out this tiny little section here and here, rather than having to pack out this entire wall. Luckily we're only off by like an inch, so it's not going to screw up the shower too much, and hopefully it won't be too tight in the end. All right, everything's packed out and the shower pan fits in nice and snug now. And the next step we're going to do is roll like a waterproof latex type adhesive on all of the walls. I don't really see many people doing that online, which is kind of startling to me that you wouldn't waterproof the wood before you actually glue the FRP board to it. But to each their own, that's what we're going to be doing to try and make sure everything's waterproof, because we definitely do not want any water penetrating through the wood and rusting our floor. Now that we have the shower waterproofed, I'm just dropping the pan in, and then I'm going to mark this out. I have a 2-inch hole saw Fits right in. Just going to turn it a few times. That way I have it marked out on the floor, and I can pull this pin out and mark center, and then start cutting with a 2.5-inch hole saw, and that will accommodate the 2-inch PVC pipe from outside to outside. Okay, there's the drain hole. A little less painless than I thought, but I don't know if you can see or not, but right here is actually the frame rail of the van, so we just barely missed that. But that's great. We had a really hard time finding a shower pan that would work for this scenario, just because the muffler's under here, and there's a couple of other like frame rails and structural components that we had to dodge, but really stoked that this shower pan worked out for us, because we were going to have to just pour one out of like thin set or something and create our own. And I was just worried that that would be problematic for us in the future with leaks or something of that sort. So super stoked with this. 3 drains later and 50 trips to Lowe's later, we finally found a drain for our shower pan. Who would have thought you have to buy an RV drain for an RV shower pan? Go figure, right? Going to put some silicone in this little gap right here, and all this is just where the subfloor is sitting on the higher ribs, and it must be on like a lower rib. So we'll silicone all of that, and then we'll be able to drop the drain in. We're taking the old templates that we used to frame out the shower, and we trimmed them down just a little bit so they'd fit inside to inside, and we're tracing those onto the FRP board, and then we'll glue it on, I think.
Okay, so today we're going to be gluing our wall shower panels in, and it's going to take it from a green aqua defense color to a nice pretty white. We'll be gluing each of the panels to the wall. It's like this adhesive, and we'll use a trowel to kind of put everything on and stick it all up. So there's an order to the operations. We're going to start with the box and this step so the other pieces can fit. So we've got the box, the back panel, and the side panels all in, as well as that piece on the step where the toilet's gonna sit. And now, as you can see, we've got the braces. We're just waiting for it to dry so we can do the other sides.
We just put all of our FRP board in, and we just realized that our Nautilus sliding shower door doesn't fit anymore. So what changed was actually the waterproofer and the FRP board that goes up here. Kind of made the closing smaller, so now we're having to go back through and cut it out another 1/8 of an inch. I went ahead and put this little board up here, and basically I'm just going to use that as a guide to cut that 1/8 of an inch off of. And we'll be using the buddy saw, which isn't what they really call it. I think it's like an oscillating saw, but we call it the buddy saw because it's our buddy. All the glue has dried up in the shower, so now we get to clean all of this mess up and all of this, which shouldn't be too bad really. From what we've read, you just use acetone once it's dried and it should come up pretty easily, or you can clean it when it's still wet with water. It is water soluble, but we like to do things the hard way, so here we are. Use acetone, they say. It'll be easy, they say. Two hours later. Not cool.
So we've just finished cleaning everything with the acetone, and now Ben's caulking all of the joints.
After lots of noodle scratching, cutting, recutting, measuring, remeasuring, recutting 2 more times, we finally have our shower mat configuration. This is about what it will look like once it's installed. Now we just need to assemble it. We just did this to get the spacing right on it. But yeah, we are ready to go. Guess what? It didn't fit. I don't even know how that happened. I swear we've measured like 20 times. And we even did like a dry fit in there and it fit. So, I don't know. I guess I'll try maybe like, hopefully not 20 more times and we'll get it right. At least it's coming apart pretty easily. The glue hasn't set up yet, so that's nice. And also, the nails seem to be sticking in the walnut, which we used cedar for the planking and then walnut for the bottom, just because we had it and it was about the right size and we didn't feel like ripping or planing anything really. We knew that it would hold up well to the moisture. So it's nice it's sticking in that, because we do not have any more of the cedar at that length. We have like 3 more pieces, but it's just like barely too short. It might actually work now that these are too long. So we might be in decent shape even if we like break one of these. So I don't know. We're gonna start over and hope for the best next time.
This is the extended platform for our toilet, right where the pee jug is. It's got some funky curves, if you can see right through there. And our jigsaw isn't long enough, so we are going to use this saw. It's called a band saw.
Alright, the pee bottle holder is done. Little notchy, little curvature action going on. We didn't really use black walnut for any particular reason other than we already had like a ton of it in my dad's barn. So we snagged a piece. It is hardwood, so it'll withstand the water from the shower well. But yeah, it also matches the shower mat quite well. But yeah, not too bad for a pee bottle holder.
So we've installed our shower mat and the pee jug like platform area, and now Ben's working on installing the remainder of the toilet. We're looking at our poop tank.
Stirring it up.
Just working over here.
We're to the last stage of the shower, which is this Nautilus retractable sliding self-cleaning door, which will go right here. It's a little bit dark out, so the lighting is sketchy, so sorry about that. But it's time to install this, and then we will be 100% done with the shower after we get our electrical supplies out of there. We have our side mounts measured out vertically, so there's equal spacing from top to bottom on both sides. Well, this one's actually over here, but that's besides the point. And pretty well the way that this holds is it has double-sided tape on the back. Sounds super strong, I know. So we'll just peel the little paper strip off of the back, and then we'll adhere that over to the wall and line it up with our marks on both sides, and then we'll be ready to run the channels that go from side to side that I'm assuming that the actual door travels in. Look at the ambiance. What? the throne.
Now that both of the side rails are installed, we're gonna work on the top and bottom rails. And we've measured in between, the distance between there and there. And we're gonna cut them with a metal hacksaw and get them installed. Today's a new day and we have better light. And the last piece of the shower door install and the shower itself is just sealing it up.
Thanks for tuning in to today's videos. As always, it's time for our tips, tricks, mistakes, and cost.
If you're gonna use a shower pan, a pre-made versus making one yourself, make sure you go ahead and buy that before framing in the shower. We searched all over the place to get the drain because we needed the drain in an exact position with the Promasters and how we have our shower. And it took us forever to be able to find one that worked. And then for the longest time, we were like, oh, we'll just make one. We'll just do it ourselves. So we stopped looking, and then we were like, maybe we shouldn't. So we actually searched and found one. Luckily, we found one that would work for us at Camping World, and we made it work. So just make sure you are purchasing your shower pan if you're going to, way ahead in advance if you're going to actually use one.
I don't see many people doing this on YouTube, but waterproof the heck out of all of your walls, the floor, the ceiling, everything in there. Silicone the screw holes or nail holes, whatever you end up using, silicone all of the cracks, and then waterproof over all of that. I mean, just imagine having water seep through somewhere. It would just be catastrophic. You're 100% going to rust your floor out or rust something out. Most likely your floor, since everything would run down to that point eventually. You could have mold in there from the wood. Just waterproof the heck out of everything. I cannot stress that enough.
It can't hurt. The last thing it's going to do is just kind of build up. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything to actually waterproof everything.
No, and I think a gallon of the waterproofer was only like $50. So $50 is 100% worth peace of mind.
Yes. One tip is to buy an RV drain and an RV shower pan. So we purchased a drain, like a normal 2-inch drain, and thought it would work, but it did not work. So we had to go back and buy an actual RV drain. So make sure you purchase an RV shower drain. I can't stress that enough because you'll be back at the store or back on Amazon, wherever you buy everything. You'll be doing it twice.
Sounds like rocket science, but if you have an RV shower pan, get an RV drain. We spent multiple times returning things and going to Lowe's only to fail every time. And then one day a light bulb went off and we're like, oh, maybe we should get an RV drain for our RV shower pan. Regardless of what the back of the FRP board adhesive says on the container, clean it up before it dries. Jelaine and I both spent 2 hours scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing that stuff. It sets up solid as a rock. It does come off with acetone, but there's a lot of elbow grease involved.
Yeah, because of the FRP board's like, not rigid, but it's textured. Thank you. And it gets stuck in all of those little pieces, so you're like having to, like, in those grooves, like really dig into those grooves to get it actually out of that.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, once the FRP board is in, go ahead and put some type of like bracing system up that really like pushes it into the opposing wall. That way it'll set up nice and solid and you won't have to worry about it like bubbling out or anything like that in the future.
And also make sure you caulk all of your FRP joints after everything's dry and in place. Go ahead and caulk all of those joints.
They do even sell like pre-made pieces of trim that go on like interior and exterior joints. And we did use those just on the little niche that we built on the wall. But we put a lot of caulk inside of those too, which I don't think you're really supposed to. But FRP board, I don't know that it's necessarily supposed to be made for showers. It's just kind of like a wipeable, cleanable surface. Some people even like use it in a wall in a kitchen or something like that. But caulk the heck out of all of those joints just to go back to the whole waterproofer thing, and rust in the floor. It's just not worth it.
We did actually buy all of those like corner pieces like Ben was saying, but we actually didn't end up using them except for that one section. They're kind of a pain in the butt to like really get in there, and they didn't give us peace of mind that they were actually sealing. So just your preference, but we just used it and caulked everything, and it was so much easier.
And I think it has a lot more clean look that way, especially like with all of the curved contours. It was really going to be a pain to make that work out. One thing we didn't really do was keep in mind like how tall we were. I know that sounds silly, but really it would have been best for us if we would have cut a section of the subfloor out and put the shower pan down on that, just to gain that extra 3/4 of an inch. When I'm in there, there's literally like a 1/2 inch of head space in there for me, and the wall does like kind of curve up this in the placement that we have our shower, so you're not really gaining the full height of the ceiling like you would if you're walking down like the middle aisle of the van. So keep that in mind, all you people who are around 6 feet. That will definitely help you out.
The total cost of this project, including all the FRP, the adhesive, the wood, the drain, the shower pan, the shower door, was a total of $826.15.
That pretty well included everything that you saw in the video except for the shower fixtures and the shower light. Thanks so much for watching today's video. We're Ben and Jelaine with Nomadic Visuals. Hit us in the comments if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next one.